Welcome everyone once again to the Spanish Breakfast Show live on YouTube Spain from a slightly chilly tower in the trees, which is why I'm dressed as something from Lord of the Rings this morning. So I'm Skatz, and in today's show we're going to tell you what nobody tells you about Spain. All of those little details you wish you'd known before you arrived. And we have some comments from the Facebook groups all about that when I asked the question yesterday. So welcome to YouTube Spain, and cue the lovely music. I must learn how to play that on the guitar, and I can do it live. Anyway, as usual, you can ask questions in the live chat over there or down there, depending on the device you're using. Or if you're not watching live, ask in the comments below and we'll get you the answers you need. Normally, my lovely wife Liz is on the live chat under the name U2 Yoga, helping me so I don't miss any questions. But today is different because she is finally appearing on the show in person. She's now quite the expert on what you need to know. So she's not in the tower in the trees with me. She's sitting comfortably in the warm on the settee in the living room. So this show isn't the usual interview, it's more of a conversation. So that should be fun, and you can join in too. And the usual final thing before we begin, you can find the link below to the merchandise page where you can get yourself a hoodie, a t-shirt, a mug or a phone case. Not one of these, we don't sell these, but you never know. This would be perfect, wouldn't it? And or you can go to our Patreon page, which let's just put up the little caption on that one before we start. Where is that? That's the Facebook page. There's the Patreon page. There it goes. Patreon.com/Liz Skatz channel. And you can support the channel and be one of our Patreons, giving a certain amount each month. So thank you for that in advance. So without further ado, let's meet my guest for the day. It's my lovely wife, Liz Catgood. Hola.
Hola. Hi, honey.
Well, here we
This
go.
is very strange.
I know it is, isn't it? Right, we ought to be in this.
Over there somewhere.
I'm over there in a separate building, but there we go.
No, it's really weird.
I
locked him in the tower, folks.
Locked in the tower, yes. Here we go then. So let's get straight on with all of these. We've got comments from Facebook, and we've made lots of our own notes about things. That sort of just warming my hands up on the radiator. Cheap power today, so we can put the heating on. So this is good. Yay! We'll come to that in a minute. The first note that we made is you can't get mail in the campo. You need a post box in the local town. The campo, by the way, is anything outside of the town. It's the countryside, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't know whether this is going to cause us problems further on down the line of proving where we live, because all of our bills, the postal address for all of our bills, is a shop in the town.
It's like a PO box, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a PO box. So if you had to prove where you lived, then it looks like there are thousands of people living in a shop in town.
Yeah.
So, answers on a postcard, please, if you have a solution to that. On second thoughts, no, don't do it on the postcard because it'll just end up at the wrong address.
I mean, it's not too bad, actually. I think that it'll be kind of incorporated into what happens here is normal and what isn't normal. Do you know what I mean? I think it's quite, I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue with it. Let's put it like that. And I mean, we had a delivery the other day that came to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was more difficult than actually getting them to deliver it to the shop, I think, potentially, because of there's three streets with the same name here. And I think that's the same in a lot of towns. And you can, when we were staying in Loja, there was two streets. One was in Loja and one was in Venta de Santa Barbara. So it was like you've got the same thing happening all over the place, I think.
Yeah, and then that delivery was from Amazon that we got the other day. And normally the Amazon stuff, we would send it to the shop in town, but it was a big it was a barbecue, basically a huge barbecue.
Monster barbecue.
And what it said on the delivery in Spanish when I was looking on Amazon, managed to get it translated. It said we send this one separately on a courier. So I said, "Oh right, let's try and send it here," because I didn't want to drive in town and pick up this huge box and try and put it in the back of the car.
Yeah, because of course a lot of the time where these PO boxes are is like on a tiny little street in the middle of the town, and you can't drive up there anyway. So, but I mean, thankfully ours is okay. We can park outside, but you know,
And
sometimes
we
like that.
so and what I put in the notes was I actually put the map reference so that they could find it, because you can't search for our address on Google Maps or Apple Maps or any maps at all.
No.
It's just not there, and it's called 3 different names, this street, on these different maps. So I don't know whether the only way to find it is to put a map reference, and then all of
Yeah.
the locals will, where I was trying to tell all of the locals in the pub the other night, where we live, they were all going, oh yeah, so you go from the gymnasium up the hill and across this road that they call by a different name from what's on the maps, and then
Yeah.
it's, oh yeah, it belongs to such and such a person. Yeah, I know the place.
Yeah.
So that's what happens in little towns. So
Very, very much like
give us
Ireland
your
as well.
so give us your
Everybody knows,
experience,
oh, you're
viewers.
next door. Yeah, you're next door to so and so's house, and you know, or the old. We were next to the old funeral directors and things like that, weren't we, when we were in Ireland? And
Yeah.
or, you know, 100 meters from the creamery or something. You know, it's the same sort of.
Or Barry's Cross, that's one.
Yeah.
That's not on any kind of map, but that's just the crossroads.
No.
Don't know
No.
where
And
Barry
the-
used to live, I suppose.
Yeah, and the creamery doesn't exist anymore either. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
if you're new to the area, what the hell is the creamery? Yeah.
And there's more than one creamery. There was one at the other end of
Yes.
town as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know, just over the way, over the river, yonder. Words like that can't get put on addresses, but the postie always knows where it is.
Yeah.
But the postie doesn't deliver here. So
No.
there you go.
Never mind.
Anyway, so that's what it's like. But you learn these things. These are the little details that you find out, and yeah, you can ask on the local Facebook. We've got a kind of social group that covers the local town, and they've been really helpful.
Yeah, they're actually brilliant. Computer social and computer groups online have been fantastic. They've been really great.
Yeah, big thanks to them. Okay, number 2 that we've come to, what you get quoted for something is probably less than you will eventually pay. Now, this I don't necessarily mean that you're going to get ripped off here. What I mean is that you may misunderstand what you actually need to say or to do. There'll be something you've not thought of because maybe you've missed something in translation, or maybe the VAT hasn't been included, or IVA as they call it here, or maybe you just didn't ask the right questions in the first place, or in a few cases maybe you are being ripped off, you know, because that happens all over the world, because of your naivety and you're green, somebody's going to wrangle extra money. Yeah, the language barrier.
Yeah. I mean, we had this issue with the car, didn't we, when it broke down? I think we got ripped off, to be honest, but we got ripped off when we were in Ireland. The first couple of weeks we were there, some bloke was trying to sell us turf, and he was selling it in a bag at €5 a bag. And then we found out actually it was worth way less than that. And, you know, so actually, all over the place. Yeah,
it's true. Most people were selling for $3.50 or $3 a bag, and then you realise you can get a great big massive delivery of it for $300, and that's a lot more than 10 bags worth, an enormous amount. It's going to happen
all over the place. And I think I've been ripped off in the UK more than I've been ripped off anywhere else in the world. So it's like...
yeah, I guess so. Well, we've lived there for longer. So,
yeah.
There we go. So any comments, by the way, that you've got on these things? I don't know, have we got anybody on the chat? I've not even looked yet. Nothing come in yet. It's normally because you're on there just chivying people along, aren't you? So anyway, here's one about the cold. Spanish houses are built for the heat, but not really for the cold, unless you live in one of those cave houses over in Almeria direction, and between Granada and Almeria.
Or our house is really, really warm.
It is, yeah. Well, it's got good heating because it's got heat exchange, but it does get, before that turns on in the evening. Yeah, it starts to get really chilly.
It's chilly, yeah. But there's double glazing, and of course then there's the shutters, and if you're just careful about doing things like closing the doors and things, it's just
This house was built in this millennium. It was built in 2001.
Yeah.
So, but generally, Spanish houses are built for the heat. They've got thick walls, and you see on programs like A Place in the Sun, people going, "Oh, it's lovely and light and airy in here. That's exactly how I like it." Don't go for light and airy, because in the summer that means tons of sun coming into the room and making you very, very hot. What you want is
melt.
dark and no air at all.
Yeah.
Dark and cool. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want a kitchen where you're not seeing the sunshine coming through,
Yeah.
so you can have food in the larder behind these really thick walls, and that's
Yeah.
why all these villages, all the houses are painted white, so it's just reflecting everything, and they look beautiful.
Right. Luna's here and she's just going a bit mad.
She's moving the laptop.
Yeah.
Never mind. Everybody can meet Luna in a minute. There she is.
Yeah, she might come up to me. I don't know where she's off to now. She's off on a jolly. Yeah, so I mean, it's you have to bear in mind that the winters here are way shorter than the summer or the warmer periods of time. So the cold in the winter is quite short-lived, and that, you know, the Spanish sort of don't really sort of think, oh, we must put central heating in the house, you know, because it's like for 16, 17 weeks of the year, it's a bit nippy at night, and it depends where you are as well in Spain, obviously. But if you're in the south, it's not very long that you've got this cold period of time, and so they just sort of like, we'll just tough it out, you know, and which is fantastic. And then it's a bit like in the UK and Ireland, they don't have air conditioning, but there's like 3 or 4 days in the year where you would think, I'd really like some air conditioning right now.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of principle, you know. They just, what's the point of having heating on? You know, it doesn't seem to be worth it. And of course, people are always trying to save money. It's a poorer country than a lot of Europe, and people are just trying to save money.
That's it, yeah. And we might be talking mainly about the south, because obviously in the north of Spain, the climate
does get cold
similar,
there,
similar to Wales up there, but you know, obviously warmer in the summer.
We found that out. Do you remember we found out that when we were in northern Spain?
We did in the summer. We did,
and it just rained the whole time we were in northern Spain. We were like, it's supposed to be Spain.
So even in the south here, I mean, I'm looking at we're in the mountains, where how many 600 and something meters above sea level.
Meters above sea level, yeah.
In the middle of town, yes. I think we're even more than that up here, because we're looking down on it. But what I'm looking at up there through the window is more like 900 at the top, possibly more actually, because it's above the path that we were on the other day.
Yeah.
But so it can get cool. It
and of
can
course
even get quite cold.
Yeah, we are, like we said, we're sort of 340, 350, 640, 650 above sea level here. So of course if you go down to the coast, you'll notice the difference in temperature is about between 2 to 3 degrees warmer down there, which of course is going to be quite pleasant in the summer. I think we're going to be a bit cooler up here, but as I understand it, it got into the 40s up here even this summer. So
can't wait. Yay.
Me neither.
Yeah. So actually, before we go on to the next one, let's have a comment from somebody from the Facebook groups. This one is from Sheila Wilson. I see Sheila Wilson's name a lot on the group, and she's always full of good advice. So good morning, Sheila. I hope you're watching. Hi, Sheila. She's saying, one thing that surprised me is that not all common cars are sold here. She brought her Opel Agila. Opel in the UK is Vauxhall, of course. At every service they say, come back in 3 hours, but it isn't ready then because there's no oil filter in stock. Then they find their supplier doesn't have one and it has to be imported. Every year the same pantomime. They refuse to acknowledge a problem until I've been without a car for several days. Maybe you needed a different mechanic, Sheila. Maybe are they all like that? I don't know.
Different garage, we feel. Yeah. And the beauty of it is that we've got a garage up here in the town, and then there's another one in Salonga, and then there's more on the coast. So there's plenty to choose from, and time for a new garage, we think. So.
New garage. Or get yourself a Seat, because apparently there's parts everywhere because they're made in Spain. So
yeah. Absolutely. It's a question of just finding out these things, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking for a car now. So if anyone in the area has got one, let us know.
Yeah.
Answers on a postcard, please. Thank you for the question, Sheila. The comment, rather. They're not questions this morning because I asked people to say, what did nobody tell you about Spain before you moved here? So we'll come back to more of them in a moment. And one thing we noticed. Yeah,
I
carry on.
must acknowledge that we're not like being flippant about these things. And of course it takes time to find another garage and stuff like that. But it's always good to go with recommendations from people on these Facebook groups or within the town or the countryside that you're living in. There's always going to be somebody who says this garage is really good, and we heard this one is really good in Computer, and the one in Silonga is really good as well. So we're lucky because just ask around, asking people.
And if it's a small town, you kind of the thing I think about small towns is that you kind of have to be good if you're a small business in a small town, because otherwise word is going to get around straight away. I heard from somebody actually the other day introducing me to somebody who was Spanish. Oh, here's the dog. Hello, Luna. Introduced me to somebody in town, and they said, actually, there's only 4 families, or only 4 family names really in this town out of, I don't know how many, 1,500 people live here, more than that.
3,000, but
3,000.
half of them, just over 3,000, but I think half of them are Spanish and half are expat. So
and
that's
so you divide that 1,500 into 4, and everybody's related to everybody else. So
same as in Ireland. As in Ireland.
If you're going to run your business badly out here, then everybody's going to find out about it, and they're going to tell somebody's brother or somebody's cousin, and they're going to say, sort yourself out. So there we go. It also means that there is actually less crime in the smaller towns, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. So one thing we found out: you can't find cream not for love nor money. There is something. No. There is something that they call cream, but it's everything is pasteurized, and it's not in the cold section. You have to search for it. It's in cartons. It does not taste like cream, not to me.
It's in the ambient section.
Ambient.
And it's the room temperature section, and it's UHT, and it's in the little cartons that are very difficult to recycle. Thankfully, we have a good recycling centre around here, so we're pretty good for that sort of thing. But it doesn't taste like it. It's called Nata, Nata, and I thought it was like a nut milk or a nut cream to start off with.
No, that's
might be almond milk or something, but it's not. And it really doesn't. It's not brilliant. So, but we have found places that do it now. Yeah,
there are shops. I don't know why. I almost feel ashamed going to a British supermarket, the ones with the British flag up there, because it strikes me that I don't want to be the sort of person that goes out and buys baked beans, because I can't live without them.
But he hides baked beans.
But for cream, for us, but we're actually on the keto diet, and cream is one of the only things that we can make sauces with, apart from natural juices. And we do use it as a base for a lot of things. So we've had to search around for that to get something. We tried one of the, I don't want to use the name, but you've got to say Elmley, because it's the only way of describing it. It's kind of partly cream and partly vegetable oil and something like that. It does taste like cream, but I'd prefer the real thing.
Because have oil?
I don't know. Maybe vegetables sell oil on street corners. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not oil from inside them. It can't be. How do you squeeze oil from a carrot?
No, it doesn't exist. So yes, it's always been something that's baffled me. Unless it's avocado or olives, and they're fruit anyway, so it's like
Absolutely. We are the sort of people who love to eat what the locals eat. I mean, we love Spanish food, and that's one of the reasons we're here, to live the Spanish life. But every now and then there's we all miss a certain kind of food, or maybe just want a bit of nostalgia for I don't know, chocolate spread or whatever, those kind of things. Mind you, they've got chocolate spread here anyway. But that's okay. The occasional thing, it's all right just to nip out and get those kind of things. But intermingling of cultures is what life is all about.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. So let's go to somebody on the Facebook group again. Who have we got this time? What comment do we have from Nina Giles? The amount of rainforests, yes, good morning, Nina. The amount of rainforests that are probably destroyed to supply the paper over here for such simple things like opening a bank account. Well, yes, that's something the world over. There's too much paper being used and rainforests being destroyed. We did open a bank account this week, and it was noticeable that lots of things came off the printer, were looked at, signed, and then were ripped off and ripped apart and put straight in the bin.
Yeah.
And shredded. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Nina.
Yeah.
And it's not just banks, like you say.
Sorry about the sound, folks. It's just it'll get better in a minute.
Is it my sound that's going wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. We will talk about the rainforest then, Liz, for a minute while it goes.
Well, I mean, it's we did actually go into the bank, and it was a bit alarming, the amount of paper that's used. But then we were kind of thinking about what happens when you go to do stuff in Ireland and you get a new bank account, and they send you a letter, and then they send you a card, which is another load of paper, and then they send you the PIN number, which is another load of paper. So there is kind of a correlation with that sort of thing going on across the UK, across Europe, sorry, we think anyway. But they do like their paperwork here in Spain. And apparently it's not just Spain, it's also France, and it's also Italy are exactly the same. So it's not necessarily that it's just here. I think it is something that needs to be addressed across Europe. Really, it's not good, and even in the UK, it's not it's not brilliant there either. You can get internet banking, which means you're doing everything online. A number of the banks and what have you, they do everything online now anyway, so you don't actually get mail coming through. So the initial process of getting the bank sorted out is very paperful, but then thankfully later on it's all done online. We've got like 2 or 3 apps now for the bank we've chosen, and they're getting better. They're getting better.
Good. That's my sound my back.
No, it's not brilliant enough. Sorry.
No, it's a shame. Let's put another viewer's comment while the sound sorts itself out. It never takes long to get it sorted. So here is Janet K. Christian. He says, I didn't realise almost everything was closed on Sundays.
That's right. Yeah, everything is closed on a Sunday, and it is the same in France and the same in Italy and a lot of other countries that are part of the Roman Catholic Church. It seems that's quite a common thing that happens. Up until recently, it was the same in Ireland as well. So it's only been within the last 20 years or so, is it, in Ireland?
Even less than that, I think.
Yeah. So, and in the UK, I mean, it's within my lifetime that shops weren't open on a Sunday. And it's just them observing their religious rights, I suppose. And it's a shame for some of us who are used to places being open on a Sunday. But then again, as we were talking about earlier, love, weren't we? We were saying it gives you an excuse to get together with the family and go out for a meal or go out for a walk, or maybe go, because restaurants and bars and cafes pretty much are open on a Sunday. So it's a good excuse to get out there with your friends or with your family and go and have a lovely meal in your local little town or wherever you are.
Yes, absolutely. And it is family time.
And you get more organised as well. I mean, I remember the first couple of times, we were going shopping and we were like, we must get stuff for Sunday and Monday. And so just in case we can't get out, and, and it just makes you do maybe one trip to the shops rather than 3 or 4. Because, I mean, we'd just pop down to the shop, wouldn't we? If just because we could, and I don't know whether that makes you spend more or what. I'm not entirely
maybe.
Sure. So, Yeah.
How's my voice now? Am I clear now?
It's getting a little better. Yeah, there's still a little. It sounds like you've got tissue paper going on in the background or something.
Yeah, we have Ghazi. Well, I don't know how you pronounce that. Ghazi, who's one of our regular viewers. So good morning. Voice not clear. Yes, thank you. We are horribly aware, and I don't know why. It's just my microphone that tends to happen. It's not the microphone. I've tried a different one, but anyway.
You're clear, my darling.
I'm clear, hurrah! And Alan, good morning. Good morning, Alan. Alan Lackenby says hi.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, if you've got any comments or questions or anything, did nobody tell you about Spain? Then let us know. We were talking about differences in food earlier on, and I noted some other ones. See if any of you can come up with any others of these. Tortilla isn't tortilla. Not what we know. Tortilla is something it's a bread product that comes with Mexican food. Tortilla here is the word for omelette, and it's also Spanish omelette. It's got potatoes in it.
They do still have tortillas here.
They do. What do they call them?
They call them tortillas.
Just call them tortillas.
Because we've actually bought them for friends when we've been in the shop. We've actually bought them.
We have.
And they were called tortillas. However, if you're in a restaurant, I think that's when the tortilla thing is different. You look at tortilla and you think, oh, it's going to be a nice wrap or something. And no, it'll be an omelette with potato in it and things.
Yeah, because I ordered a tortilla thinking that I was ordering an omelette. And actually what I got was egg and chips. Which was quite strange. It was because it was kind of almost, it was like a cheap version of an omelette. They hadn't bothered to mix it all up and do it all as the proper Spanish omelette, which looks beautiful. They're just gone chips, egg on top, mix it up together.
There we go.
And also the thing that's translated as broken eggs on some menus, it means fried eggs.
Or scrambled.
So that's worth. Or scramble. It came as fried eggs on the one that I knew. So again, it was egg and chips. I ordered what I thought was going to be a lovely omelette made with eggs, broken eggs, and with jamon, and that's what it said. But it was egg and chips with some pieces of ham. There you go. Ghazi says, "What about hummus?" Yeah, hummus is available, and we like the hummus is available in the supermarkets.
Massive arrays of different types of hummus as well, and they also have chickpeas and tahini, so you can make your own as well if you want to, if you're not happy with what you get in the supermarket. So everything's here to make hummus.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So there are lots of these. Sort my blocked nose out. Yes, thank you, Jason. It's when I put the glasses on, it just closes my nose up like this, and I end up sniffing a lot. So I'm very sorry about that. If I take the glasses off, I can't read anything that's on the screen. So
I've got mine.
I'll push them up like that. They look really, really odd when I push them up like that. Yeah, I know. And it's being in here with I've got the radiator on, and it's dried the room out completely. So there. Sorry about that. It happens the same every week, Jason. I know. I keep going. And but no, it's not pleasant. I'll stop doing it now. It's not going to help. I'm just pointing it out to everyone now. So our diet, I was saying, for on this food issue, because we're on a thank you, Jason says, our diet hasn't changed all that much really, because we've got a low carb keto diet thing going on and fasting along with it. So we tend to have meat and salad or meat and veg for the main meal, and that's the same here. And we avoid all of the starchy stuff, which means that we don't have paella. We can't have rice. We can't have pasta, bread, cereals, anything with sugar in it, so no desserts. But we love the cheeses and the cured meats and nuts and lots of protein. So the best thing we could possibly have in Spain is a barbecue, so we can just slam the meat on there and then just prepare some salad to go with it, and we can have that all year round.
Yeah.
That's good. Alan has a comment.
Good point.
Yes. Bank charged €40 every quarter, as I'm not a resident yet and don't send over €700 every month. Sabadell. Yes, it's not just Sabadell, it's most of the banks. If you're a non-resident, it's very worth knowing. So thanks for pointing that out, Alan.
Yeah.
If you're a non-resident, you can get some of the online accounts that don't charge that. But some of them some of the companies don't let you pay your direct debits unless it's from a Spanish resident bank account. So it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, I did actually hear somebody do it's a bit of a faff, but what she's doing, but she's actually opened an internet account, and she just moves money from one to the other to avoid her charges.
Yes, yeah.
It is a bit of a faff, and you have to remember to do it, but if you're with certain banks, you can put in, like, for example, you can put in 3 lots of 700 all in one go. So you can put 2,100 in at one time if you're lucky enough to have €2,100, and then they charge you for 3 months. That's what we were told with our bank. So And that means you don't get charged at all. So,
very true. Yes. And a comment from Ghazi. Hello. You're always saying quite a lot. In winter, sweets are very important. Well, yes, unless you're on keto, in which case it just gives you diabetes. So that's no good for me. But thank you. Yeah, I mean, yes, I can see why you've said that.
Yeah, and we can eat vegetables and some fruits. So that's how we do that.
Yeah,
and we have cream and chocolate and.
Yeah, chocolate that's 99% chocolate. That's what I have first thing in the morning.
Keeps you up for weeks.
Yeah. If I have chocolate and then I have a coffee, then I'm like this for the whole of the day. Yeah. And we were saying about the barbecue. One of the advantages of a barbecue here is that it saves on electricity bills because you can just use the gas. And we've got a hob on the barbecue as well because it's a big long one, so we can boil the kettle on that. And it's also because it's a gas barbecue. Yeah, you can light it really quickly, and you don't have to put all the coals, all the charcoal on it, and take ages to start them off.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the next point, which is electricity bills.
Electricity.
They've been going up an awful lot here, but they've changed recently the tariff, the sort of this government tariff. Has actually helped a lot of people to reduce their electricity bills, and they've reduced the VAT or the IVA, as it's called here. Most people now are on this the official 3-rate system, where during the week it's really cheap between midnight and 8 in the morning, and then between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. it's this kind of slightly more expensive medium charge, and then between 10 o'clock and 2. It's the most expensive rate. It's quite a lot more expensive than the medium one.
50% more, I think, something like that. So it's quite
maybe more than
alarmingly high.
And then it goes back between 2 and 6. It's at medium rate. Then expensive again 6 to 10, and then medium 10 to midnight, and then it becomes cheap from midnight again until 8 in the morning. And
we should point out that there are electricity companies that do this differently. Where we were staying in with our friends Steve and Mandy, if they're watching, hi darlings. They had a thing where it was actually you can get it where it's free on one day, or you can get 2 hours of free electricity every day as well if you prefer. So for some people it might be, let's do it on Sunday, and then they can just do all the washing and the ironing on the Sunday or whatever, and do your slow cooking stuff on a Sunday, or you might choose a different day. It depends on what your needs are. But it does change depending on which electricity company you are. But those tariffs are pretty much standard for most of the electricity companies.
Yeah, and you can ask for that one as well. And if you are on one of those tariffs that gives you some free usage, then no doubt the times when it's more expensive, it's more expensive than everybody else's expensive rate.
Or you get more times when it's more expensive, I think. So
the
hours are longer where it's more expensive.
But Steve and Mandy do all their washing Sunday, and then it's completely free, which is brilliant. Actually, Stephen did send in a comment. One of the things to watch out for is dodgy B&B owners. I've not got it on my screen here though. That's comment. Only he was being silly because he's a B&B owner. So
El Paso, Inventa de Santa Barbara. Please go there and stay there. You'll have the best time ever. That's where we were for the first month.
You can find the link below in the comments. I've left it in because we love them. Thanks very much for the comment, Steve and Mandy. Let's
Top
see.
People.
Next comment then. The next thing. Let's get Alan's comment up here. Where do we have it? Alan Brasher, who's obviously not very happy about a lot of things that have happened in Spain. The banks charge a lot of money for holding your money. Well, yes, if you're a non-resident, especially, our bank's gonna, the only charges we're going to get is something like 15 a quarter, something like that. And that's for running your account. He says lawyers are not registered. Well, the lawyers can be qualified, but there aren't the same kind of organisations that guarantee that lawyers are kosher. like there are in the UK or maybe in Ireland.
Yeah.
I don't think there are HES stores that are part of kind of a society that does guarantee if the HES store does something wrong, then you have some kind of recompense. But not all of them. Anybody can set up as a HES store. So yeah, you just have to go with recommendations on them. That's very important.
Definitely. If you're buying somewhere or renting somewhere, then it's a good idea to ask people that you're renting from. So like estate agents or the landlord or the landlady of the place that you are. Who are they with? I mean, it might be a really good thing. Ask around. It's really important. Get recommendations from people. If you're just walking in and you just go with the first person, then it's not a good idea. We've been told numerous times not to go with the lawyer when you're buying a house, not to go with the lawyer that your estate agent recommends, because they'll obviously have a bit more of a penchant for their clients, so they're more likely to not be as open and as honest, maybe, if that's the case with you. If you get one from the estate agent, that doesn't mean everybody is like that, but it's more likely. So there's plenty of places online. If you go to websites like A Place in the Sun and Upsticks, .es and places like that, loads of recommendations of lawyers and HES stores for you, and you can guarantee that they're independent and not getting any sort of financial reward from these websites, and they're genuinely decent people. So just
So Alan says paperwork's atrocious. Yeah, that's a common thing.
Yeah.
I think if nobody's told you that about Spain before you move, then you've not been on the internet at all. So
you're in for a big surprise as well.
Everybody knows that one. So the Spanish government can and do steal from your bank account. I'd like to point out that those are not my words. If anybody from the government is listening, it's not theft, because the government, just like the customs and excise, can assume that you're guilty until proved innocent, which is the opposite of what the courts do. And they have the right to stop your bank account, to freeze it. They have the right to take money out if they think you owe them tax. Yeah, that's the way it is.
The VAT in the UK has exactly the same laws. They can take money out of your bank account or seize assets. Exactly the same thing. I always remember my mum saying, my mum used to be an accountant, and before she retired, and she always used to say, "I don't care about the tax man, I care about the VAT man. He's the scary one."
VAT and customs and excise, they are the ones.
They've just got their own laws. They can do what they want. Yeah. So it's the same in the UK for certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's happened. There are more horror stories told about it happening in Spain, and and it they can freeze your bank account. And one thing that I've been encouraged to do is get a business bank account and a personal bank account, because then it's only the business one that's going to get frozen, because that's the one where all your taxes are registered as coming in and out of, and then you'll still be able to buy your shopping. And that also helps. It's good advice anyway, because your HES store, your accountant will be able to look at just one account and not be confused by all of your shopping receipts that are coming out as well. Yeah. So they'll find that handy.
And also you can have internet banking for your personal, which you don't get charged for. Lots of internet banks now you don't get charged for, and then just have a regular Spanish bank for your autonomo, or for money that you're using for business and what have you.
And there is one bank account. And there is one Spanish bank account that does a very good online bank account. I'm not going to give their name out, but if anybody wants to know that, I'll do it in the comments below, and I'll put in a recommendation for that. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's just get one more comment from the Facebook groups that we have here, from Jane Ann Williams. Spanish time is a thing. She knew life was She knew life was more relaxed, but seriously, coming from a land where punctuality is the politeness of princes. She's been watching The Crown. It's taken me years to get used to social meeting times being different from official meeting times, and events starting on time. Well, that's anyone's guess. eventually learning to roll with it. I learned to roll with it, but still, yeah, you just got to learn to roll with it. Spanish
Yeah.
time, mañana is a thing, and
Yeah.
and mañana, by the way, is not an insult. If anybody's thinking that,
No.
I had somebody say that a Spanish person saying that people in the UK were insulting her by using it as an insult, as if Spanish people were lazy, but they're not. They work longer hours than they do in the UK.
They do.
They
Yeah.
start earlier in the morning and
Yeah.
work till much later in the evening. They just
And they some
have a
work
very long lunch
Saturdays.
and a good nap in the middle of it, which is
Yeah, and
sounds
they
very
work.
sensible to me.
Well, they have 2 hours off for lunch, but I mean, the guys who came to do our internet, for example, they were here until 6:30. Last time I saw a BT man doing that was, I don't remember. So it's like we've never had people staying that late to do things, and we've had other people who've come as well, who've come exceptionally early. Like, for example, the guys from the storage. Spanish guy and a European guy another European guy, I can't remember which country he's from, but they both arrived and they were here at 9:15 in the morning after leaving Malaga, which is over an hour away. So it's they work blooming hard, I'll tell you. And coming from a family that's mostly Navy, most of my family have either been in some sort of armed forces or police force or something like that. It is difficult when you first get here. But what was it we were saying? You either have to adapt or get miffed.
Yeah,
They are your choices. You have two choices. You can either get really, really miffed about it, or you can just go, okay, this is how it is here, and you just have to live with it. And
yeah.
we're in a different culture, a different country. It's just all part of it, isn't it?
No point getting miffed. It's just bad for
No.
your health, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you can get stressed out if you want to. That's your decision and it's your choice. But we choose not to do that anymore because it's just not worth it.
Actually, my next point that I had in my notes was expect everything to take longer than you think and just
Yes.
accept it.
Yes.
It is. It is going to take longer. My NIE number, for example, the appointment was last Wednesday. No, so that's a week last Wednesday. Was the appointment. I had my advisor, actually Chris from Upsticks, was the one who went to the office to sort out getting the NIE. He made the appointment. I gave him power of attorney for that, and he sorted it out. But you have to wait for the. Oh, here we go. Chris is there. Thanks for the shout out. See you next week. He says. You can find Upsticks's website address below in the comments.
Yeah.
And
above and beyond,
it's above and beyond, yes. And his car even broke down a couple of days ago when he was trying to go and pick up the certificate, and which would have been ready on Thursday. But finally, it came through yesterday. So thanks for sorting that out. Now we have the piece of paper, which I'm going to print out in a minute. So next point, here we go. Number 8. Oh, let's have a look. We've got Barry from Unitech on. Hello, Barry. Good morning.
Hi, Barry.
Barry says, I've worked for myself for 25 years now. Apparently, if you work for someone else, you get things called holidays, sick pay, and other benefits. Quite right. We're self-employed.
World, Barry.
Know exactly what you mean, Barry. Yes. Yeah, we just, you just have to find holidays when you can.
Yeah. And we're on holiday here now, so it's okay. Well, that'll sort us out for a couple of years now. We'll be okay.
Yeah. Although, as Chris himself said yesterday, you've got your NIE now. Start working. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, officially I can, and now I have to get up off my backside. But I'm working now, so that's good. Here we go.
There we are. Yeah.
Next point then. Some of your stuff will get broken during your move. Whether you pack it in, it doesn't matter how much bubble wrap you use or how careful you are, it's going to happen. So budget for more picture frames for a start, because the glass will go. We packed, well, Liz did all the packing for the picture frames, and bubble wrap until they were this thick, and still you open them up and the glass just
they
pops.
chucked them on the lorry, and that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, we had a rather disjointed journey. Our stuff had a rather disjointed journey, so it went from us to Dublin and then was unloaded there. and then was loaded up again onto another lorry, and then was driven down here, and then we got it and then put it in storage, and then it came here again from the storage. The lads loaded it up into their truck, and then, so we had sort of 3 lots of loading up.
3 different companies, and then when it arrived in the storage, some of it was packed in different boxes from what we'd packed. So some of it, presumably the boxes they'd broken the boxes when they'd taken them off the lorry and repacked them. So it was different writing that was on there, and the stickers, they'd taken them off the old boxes and put them on the new ones.
And some of the stuff was not supposed to be in those boxes either. So there's stuff that, you know, we'd put in specific boxes so that we knew where it was going. And then other stuff had gone into other anyway. Mad. So you just have to sometimes accept. I mean, you can complain until you're blue in the face, but even the insurance only covers you really if there's things that are completely broken and or missing completely. Yeah, and of course we had issues as well with our moving company, because they were late and supposed to get to us and didn't get to us. But another shout out for You Store It in Torremolinos. Brilliant Stuart there, who was absolutely fantastic and basically took all of the stress out of the whole moving thing, or moving our gear stuff, because I mean he was outstanding. So Stuart, good morning. We were lucky.
We were lucky there as well, because Stuart's only just taken on the franchise. So he had spare units, so it meant that we could put back when we thought the delivery was going to arrive. So we only paid for storage when it actually arrived, not on the date that we'd originally booked it. So thank you very much, Stuart.
Yeah, and another thing is that that goes back to the kind of the bank holidays and things like that. Brilliant, Barry. Yeah. So we.
I'll put that comment up.
Oh no, that was just brilliant. We actually arrived on a bank holiday, or we arrived on a Sunday, and then it was bank holiday on the Tuesday. So of course they do what's called a ponte, which is where they do a bridge, and so Monday was off as well, and so we were supposed to be picking up our stuff from storage. Oh no, we're supposed to be dropping off at storage on the Tuesday, and it was a bank holiday. Stuff just doesn't happen on bank holidays. It's like a Sunday, so you forget it. And then the ponte as well, which is the day in between, most people would take that day off as well. So it's you have to bear that in mind too.
Yes, holidays. And Barry, as you can see on the screen, said you need to make stickers for your packages stating fragile, please throw into van, underarm only.
Underarm only.
Yeah, don't bowl it over your head like that.
With a bat or something.
We had fragile written in massive letters on lots of the boxes, including my electric piano, which was in a big, well, it was kind of a soft case. It wasn't even in a hard case. And I had great big arrows as well saying you must store it this way up. Because you don't want to store it with the keys facing down, because they are what are called weighted keys, so that it feels like a proper piano. So if you put them the other way, the keys actually fall out of their sockets. So but I noticed when it came in one of the vans that it was just standing up on its end, which is, they don't follow the instructions. There you go.
No. Even if you put them in Spanish, I read somewhere that somebody had put all of the instructions in Spanish, so that if but that didn't make any difference whatsoever.
No. The 2 guys that picked up from our house in Ireland to take to Dublin were from.
Well,
they're from Poland anyway. So.
Poland, yeah.
Or somewhere,
so even if we'd written it in Spanish, they wouldn't have been able to understand. So.
No.
Yeah.
So storage is really important. We've put
storage
as the next, and I'm not just necessarily talking about storage units, which did turn out to be really important for us, but storage in a house. When you're looking for a place to buy or rent, it's so easy to forget how much stuff you've got. And we sold, we gave away, we recycled well over half of what we owned in Ireland. So much went, and we still needed to have a place here for lots and lots of boxes of stuff. And it's partly because we're both self-employed, and we both have businesses where we carry a lot of things around, and we both have businesses that are separated off into loads of little things that we do. So I've got puppets, for example, I don't know where I'm going to use them in Spain, but I couldn't throw them away. Some of them I made myself. Some of them I've got a great big 4-foot purple octopus that came in the roof box with us. So I can't throw them away, need somewhere to store them. So, we had to rent a place that's got more bedrooms than we need, or you have to rent one that's got a huge garage, or a lot of the Spanish houses, the villas, have got the whole underground floor, which is where you park your car and where you keep everything cool. And that would have been a great thing for us to use.
Yeah.
There you go.
Storage. As it turns out, this house has that storage, but the landlord is still using it for his business where we live. So, but he has offered if we want to have any storage, if we're overwhelmed with stuff, then we can actually put stuff down there, even if it's just temporarily. Yeah, but I mean, we worked it out the other day that our house, if you include the tower where Skatz is there, that's another 2 rooms there, and we've actually got 7 bedrooms.
7 possible bedrooms, yes. Yeah, we're not using them all as bedrooms, but yeah.
Which is mental. And because we've got a little office at the top of the house as well, which we call the crow's nest. Which I wouldn't put anybody in the middle of the summer because it's going to be roasting up there.
Yeah, the boiler is in there. Yeah.
The boiler room up there, but there's space for a desk and a bed, But we've got 5 bedrooms in the house officially. Yeah.
There you go. So another thing about houses, if you're buying a house and it's furnished, at some point you might think, oh, no, I want to modernise, or I want to put my own furniture in there. Just have a look at where the house is. If you're in a small town with tiny roads and no parking next to it, getting rid of an old divan bed in the middle of a town like that is a nightmare. I mean, if you want to clear out your house, there's no way you can put a skip unless it's at the other end of town or something like that. And carrying these divan beds can be really heavy. Any piece of furniture, any wooden bookshelves, that kind of thing. You'd take days and days and days to carry everything, and you wouldn't be able to get a van up there to be able to load up.
No.
Costs a lot of money, and that's why a lot of Spanish houses come furnished when you're buying them, and it might be old.
Yeah, the little townhouses and village houses that are down these lovely little beautiful cobbled streets, which are perfect because you're not going to get anything up there or down there. Forget it. Yeah,
exactly.
So it is a bit it's difficult. Yeah,
it is indeed. The last point we've got here. No, it's not the last point. I've got a few more. The best way this is a really nice, important one. The best way to find things and people is to say hello. And this is, you start off, I think, on something like Facebook and the social media. But the best way to do it really is to be face to face with people. Shops and cafes are the best places to start, which is why it's really a good idea to choose a place to live with access to those sorts of places, and where there are gatherings of people like you, but clubs and societies, walking groups, history groups, markets, that kind of thing, and things that you're interested in, because you'll get lots of help offered and lots of advice, and you'll make lots of friends. You'll learn so much more from just being there and talking face to face. I went to one of the bars here to talk about getting gigs there to play music in there, and I just ended up speaking to a group of people from the local area, partly in Spanish, and which also helped my learning of Spanish, and learned so much about Computer, where we live, and learned about lots of different hints about the way to do things. And you also learn about geographically what things about the town, because when you move there and you look on the maps and you try and tell people where you live, you go, right, we're on this street name, and you don't do it by street names. When you live in a town, you say it's this crossroad with the thing, it's next to that shop, it's and you realize that. And now I know how to tell people where we live, because you know, if they live in town, they'll know exactly where it is now, and they probably know the owner as well, because as soon as I described it, they went, "Oh yeah, that's owned by such and such." So there you go. Morning, Tony.
Hi,
Morning,
Tony.
Andrew, and a team. We're a team
Well, I'm a
today.
team, am I? How lovely.
Yes,
We need
yes, Tony's.
shirts. Excellent.
We do, yes. We
Yeah.
have
So,
we
and
have you
we
two
got,
Spain shirts. You can buy those.
yeah, and keto ones and all sorts. Yeah. So help
Yeah.
yourself in the thing below.
So next
Yeah.
comment: size of bedding. Oh, this was one we came up with last
Oh,
night, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
If you've got UK pillows, the chances of
Get
getting
it.
the same size pillowcases very difficult. The maybe we found IKEA had something similar, but and you can buy lots
Yeah.
of different size pillows in IKEA.
Mm,
But if you're trying to buy pillows in other Spanish shops, they will be for those long pillows that you get the double
yeah. Or the
extra
little
length
square
pillows,
ones.
or
Or the
yeah,
little
very
square
small
ones
square
that they
ones.
have. So,
So I've had to shove my pillow into a kind of slightly smaller pillowcase.
yeah, yeah. So we both have. And buying bedding, they don't do the regular sort of king size, single and double. They don't do that, or super king or queen size or anything. And there's none of that. It's all measurements. And unfortunately, I bought some for the beds that we've got, and it's way too big. So it's like all the way down to the floor, the duvet covers, but
It
and
seemed to be.
the beds, the actual flat sheets, the fitted sheets and stuff like that are too big. There's not much you can do about it, I'm afraid. It's just
No,
you have to take measurements and do the best you can, because the measurements are not the same as double and king and super king and or
no.
single or anything. Single seems to be okay. You can get away with single. But even then, the pillows that come in with single bedding are the little square ones or the long bolsters that they have. So you're going to struggle with that. So beware,
Yeah,
and bring your own, or get them sent to you, or just buy duvets and stuff from Spain when you get here,
yeah.
and pillows and
Buy the
things, and
pillows
then
and
everything
duvets
will
there.
fit. And then I think
Yeah,
everything will fit.
there
The
seem
best
to be
place we
more.
found so far was IKEA. They had a better selection, and they did have the more sort of Northern European pillow sizes, but even then, everything we bought from there is too big,
That's
so
it. Okay.
or too small.
Yeah, yeah. But you learn to adapt. Don't you? Talking of
Yeah.
actually, adapters is the next thing on the list.
Oh,
You
blimey.
can never have too many adapters because
No.
you know you're going to bring some things with the 3-pin plugs from the UK or Ireland, and they are the same voltage, by the way. So you can actually plug them in and into the
Yeah.
adapters with the two thin pins that are the European ones.
Yeah.
We've got, I mean, I brought lots of the long extension leads with the four-way, whatever you call them, four-way adapters, because we do have actually lots of things with the 3-pin plugs on them. But now we're finding having to wire things up where we've got a European socket. So you plug in the four-way into a European adapter into the socket, and then you'll find at the other end that you've got 3 lamps that are UK ones, and then but you've got an EU lamp, so you've got to put another adapter into the 3-pin socket to plug that one into it. So
Yeah.
we've got in different places in the house, we've got a mixture of cables. So
Yeah.
eventually
It's
we'll
gone
have
mad.
everything Irish. But you know, my PA system, for example, for doing gigs, it's all UK. But I did buy it from a company in Germany, so they did send me the EU adapters on that. But I think for now I'll just use one adapter and have everything coming into 3-pin at the other end
Yeah.
while I learn what's going on.
Yeah, and it is kind of
There you
mad
go.
when you have, when you have as many gadgets as we do, and lamps and things like that. Oh, no, and my salt lamp, bizarrely, had a European plug on the end of it when I bought it in Ireland. So I don't know why that was, but there we are. But things like ladies' hair dryers, straighteners, things like that, television stuff. All of your things, like you're going to bring your vacuum cleaner or your steam cleaners and things like that I've bought, all got Europe. They've all got British plugs on. So it is, you have to get adapters,
You
loads of
do.
them. And some of them don't work either, which is really annoying. So you'll try and plug them in and always plug the plug into the adapter before you put it into the socket. because if you put the adapter in and then try and plug in the British or the Irish plug, it won't work. And don't be alarmed, because there will be lots of like sparky things happening.
Yeah, that's
I
scary.
find this every time I plug my thing into one of these adapter, the 4-way things, which I've got in one of the bedrooms upstairs. Every time I plug something into that, there's a little white light that comes on in the middle of the thing. Do not be alarmed. You are not going to burn down your house. It's perfectly normal when you're using an adapter. It just happens when you're using an adapter.
Yes, just don't do it near the bedclothes.
Preferably not. Well, actually, it's actually inside the mechanism. So you've got one of these like this, one of these things. Can you see that? There, one of these
It's a bit too
things.
shiny,
It
but
happens
yes.
happens inside.
This
is a British
UK one.
But if you imagine this is a European one, the actual light comes on inside the socket, inside here. It's not outside; it's inside. But it does actually happen. So please don't be alarmed. It does happen. It is a bit scary when you first see it, because nothing like that had ever happened in the UK. But yeah, or if it did, it would set your breakers off. So.
Right, the final point I've got in our notes is, if you have the opportunity, walk instead of driving. Very important, because you get to know the streets a lot better, and you get to meet lots of people you can say hello, and you find all of the little shops that you don't find when you're driving and trying to concentrate on not hitting all of the traffic on these very narrow streets.
I've met more people from just walking around Computer and anywhere actually than we have, when you're just driving. Obviously you can't talk to people when you're driving around, but unless you stop and talk to people. That's another thing. It's the same in Ireland, but in Spain people will stop and have a conversation in their cars on the streets, and nobody gives a hoot about how long you're standing behind that person waiting to go and keep going. They just keep talking, and it's actually really quite lovely, and I actually really like it. But it does happen quite a lot. But it's happened to us quite a few times now. But you get stuck behind somebody having a natter, which is really sweet. But yeah, talking to people, it's just brilliant. We need to do it.
And I've never been very good at it. I mean, surprisingly enough, I'm doing a talk show, but I did this to make myself better at talking to people. It's a lot easier when it's your wife over there. That's because we're used to talking to each other. But yeah, but I recommend it. Even if you're a little bit Asperger's like I am. So Barry says, or add UK sockets. Yes, as some plugs are molded power supplies. Yeah. We've got. I mean, because I've done theatre performances and done lots of music. I had things in my music studio. I've got loads and loads of these 4-way UK sockets. So I've got way too many than I need now. So that's very, very handy, and it means you just plug in.
Yeah, you can't change the sockets in somebody else's house. So that's another thing. If you're renting, you can't do that. So it is a bit difficult. But if you're buying your own house,
means.
Yeah, and if you're buying your own house, then you can actually add UK sockets. It is quite easy to do. I've read a lot of people doing that. You must. I'm not going to apologise for the sunshine. I'm really, really bright, so I'm sorry about that.
Have you enjoyed doing a different role this week?
Who, me?
Yes, being in front of the camera. No, you. I'm talking to you now.
Doing a different role, I suppose. I mean, we've done a lot of lives together on the Liz and Skatz channel, I suppose. So it just felt like it was a bit different. I have enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been good. Apart from the trying not to glare you all to death with the beautiful blue sky and the bright sunshine coming through this window. I'm not sorry about at all. Sorry.
It's funny, during the show, yes, the sun has moved. I've not got it in here. But I can see it on the mountains and in the tree. We've got some lovely pine trees over there with pine cones. Through the other window. Anyway, so
beautiful.
But next week you're back to the live chat in the little in your little corner typing away.
I'm back to my dungeon next week. I'm not that way. I'm that way next week, so I'll be in there.
But you're always there anyway, and it's lovely having you there.
Sorry,
Barry says it's raining here. Oh no, very sad face, anguished face that is, isn't it?
I know, yeah, absolutely. Well, we have had some rain here, and it is quite chilly here at the moment. It's not warm. Everybody seems to think that Spain is warm all the time. It's really not. It's cold here at the moment.
It's getting warmer in here now, though, because of
well,
the radiator's on.
You're
I'll go back to bald.
Powered by cheap electricity heater today. So brilliant.
Yeah. So as I close off today, then we'll say, actually, no, let's keep you on the screen as we say goodbye. You're back to the live chat. And oh yes, I keep forgetting to mention the apostilles.
Oh yes.
So there is an apostille and translation service that you can get a discount on.
Yeah.
And if you use the code AndrewAPO for a discount, there's the web address of that one, and it's also in the video description below. So if you haven't managed to write that down, you can freeze frame on that, and there you go. And we'll get some kind of not you freeze frame, but so there you go. And if you have tried it, then let us know how long it took to get your
we need to get quite a bit of stuff apostilles, don't you?
Mm-hmm. If you're trying to get a non-lucrative visa, for example, there you have it.
Thanks, Alan.
And also, if you've gained some good information from this video, then do click on the like thumbs up.
Please.
And our Patreon site, as I mentioned at the start, and t-shirts, merchandise, all of that kind of stuff. And next week on the Spanish Breakfast Show, I'll be talking to Chris from Upsticks, who you heard from before on the chat there, about how couples apply for the non-lucrative visa and residency. We'll be looking at a few different scenarios, like both people having a non-EU passport, one having an EU and one having a non-EU, both with an EU passport, etc. I think there's 4 different scenarios we're looking at. Obviously, some of those don't need to apply for a visa. Some of them, it's just residency that we'll be talking about. But anyway, join us next Saturday. And before then, if you want to leave comments and questions about that you want answered on that show, then do so down below or on the Facebook group. Let's see, we have our own Facebook group, and I also put questions up on several other Facebook groups. We are facebookgroup.com/groups/U2 Spain. There you go, that's that one. And so don't forget to join that. And you can also chat to other people in your situation and share up-to-date advice and make friends and ask loads of questions, because the notifications for them come up very quickly for us. And at the moment, until we're much more popular, then we will still be answering your questions. And also, you can get free yoga classes with Liz on U2 Yoga, and there's U2 Aromatherapy as well that Liz does. So that's all for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've done a much longer session this time, which is okay. What I'll be doing is putting the time codes underneath the video eventually. I've not even done last week's yet, so sorry about that. And there we go. Busy. Yeah. So subscribe away. Click on the bell, ting, if you haven't already done so. Oh, and there's a goodbye to Luna as well. Luna's lying in the sunshine. So we will see you soon. A goodbye for now. Let's put on Let's put on the music. Goodbye for now. Thank you. Peace and love.